This is A Geek Leader. Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of A Geek Leader. Today we're going to be talking about distractions. And if my voice sounds a little funny or a little off, I have a little bit of a cold, but I'm not going to let that distract me from what we're going to talk about today. All right, so distractions are things that we all suffer from them, right? And I talked to my students the other night and I asked them, who here deals with distractions? And every single person raised their hand. Everybody on my team deals with distractions. So how do we handle that? How do we get past it? How do we, deal with distractions? Well, let's first back up a little bit and talk about what distractions do. So distractions, they snatch your ideas. How many people here have had like a great idea, this wonderful thing that you think it's going to make millions of dollars, or it's going to save us time, it's going to improve life in some way, and then all of a sudden it's gone because you were distracted? One thing that I noticed driving down the road is so many people are distracted by their cell phones. They're distracted by that ping, that buzz, that ding, that thing that they have to check immediately. Distractions. Distractions also choke productivity, right? How many of you have been working at a project, working on a document, writing something, making code, designing something, and then all of a sudden you're distracted? And when you come back from that distraction, it takes you a little bit of time to figure out where you were. Yeah, we've all had that. Another thing distractions do is they stifle creativity. Right? We all have to be creative in our daily tasks. We have to be creative in whatever we're doing. If we're solving problems, we're using our brains, we're thinking of solutions, we are creating. A lot of developers, software developers, they always think, I'm not creative. I'm not a creative person. But in reality, you are a creative person. You're solving problems. You are creating ideas. You're creating solutions. And distractions, they stifle that creativity. They keep us from coming up with the best idea. A lot of times distractions come from our mind, right? Where we're thinking about things, where our mind will play tricks on us. They'll give us this idea of expectation escalation, where we think that what we're doing isn't good enough. It's not quite where it needs to be, so we get distracted. Another thing that distractions do is they lead to poor quality. Just in general, not only is our creativity suffers, but our quality suffers. When we're distracted, we can't focus as well. We're not as much into the problem that we're solving. And lastly, they sabotage important tasks. All right, we're working on something important, a distraction will come, and a lot of times we won't ever get back to it. We won't finish that important task, or we'll push it off till tomorrow. Right. We all have email. That's a blanket statement that we all agree with. And one thing that researchers show, that if you work a typical 8 to 5 and you just glance down to look at that mail icon bouncing in your dock to see if you have any mail, to see that little red 1 or 2 or however many messages you have there, if you just happen to glance down at that every 5 minutes to see if it's there, that little distraction, let's say it takes you 10 seconds to recover from that distraction, how much time do you think you've used up in 1 year? Well, studies show that that's 66.7 hours. I think we all could agree that we could accomplish a lot with 66 more hours, right? That's more than a week and a half. And that's time that's wasted just by looking down to see if you have a message, that one little distraction. And that's assuming that we can recover from the distraction within 10 seconds, which is pretty conservative, because a lot of researchers say that it takes sometimes between like 30 seconds and 3 minutes to really recover from a small, minor distraction like that. So what do we do about this? What do we do with distractions? Well, there's a couple of things that you can do to help kind of limit yourself with distractions and help you deal with them. I can honestly say you cannot fully eliminate distractions. They're always going to be there. Our brains are built to love distractions. We get this little dopamine rush whenever we hear that ding, that buzz on our phone to let us know that there's a notification. We have to check it. Right. Well, one of the things we can do to help limit our distractions is to get rid of busy work. One of my favorite quotes is that busyness is a form of laziness. Right? And if you look at that, that's because busy work distracts us from doing the really important things that we need to do. Another thing we can do to help, prevent distractions is to just limit our activities. Look at the Pareto's law, the 80-20 rule of the activities that we do every day. Right? Being busy is not the same as being productive, right? So if we can just limit some of the things and focus on the 20% of the most productive things that we have to do and need to do that day, we can help reduce our distractions, tenfold for sure. All right, so focus on what is it that's most important. What is the 20% of products that you need to be working on, or the 20% of ideas that you need to really focus on? All right, one of the things that I do is every night I pull up my phone and I use the little task reminder app that's in the iPhone, and I have a note that says today, and I look at that today note and I put in 3 things that I want to work on, and I try to work on at least 2 of those things before I check email. Right? Many of those important things that I need to do are really simple, like return a phone call, send a message to someone, write a thank you note. There's something very simple, but yet very important, and very easy to be distracted and put it back to the bottom of the pile that you'll never ever get to, right? So I try to knock off a couple of those before I ever open email, because what is email? It's like the biggest distraction that we have, right? So your email always has that next message that's going to train wreck your schedule for the day, right? That one message that says, hey, you've got to start working on this right away, or this customer's not happy, or this employee's not happy. Whatever it is, it's going to train wreck your day. So you want to delay that email checking, if you can, and accomplish something first. And anyway, are you really that important that you have to check email right then, right now? No. I mean, people can wait. They can wait, an hour or 2 before you check email. Another thing that I do is we have, instant messengers and things like that at work. We use Slack and Link Communicator, and I don't even turn those on when I first get to the office. They used to be on my computer where they would automatically start up when I signed in. I've turned all that off because I don't want the distraction. I want to be able to accomplish something before I get distracted, right? So I've turned all that off. Another thing that you can do to help prevent distractions is to give yourself short timelines. Right? Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. In the software development world, we call that scope creep, right? Where scope just keeps getting added in and added in and added in. So a lot of times, if I have 2 weeks to complete a task, I will give myself 2 days and try to squeeze it into 2 days. And that way, my mind mentally has to focus on what is the minimal viable product to complete to get this out the door. It also helps me, remove myself from distractions because I'm only focused on what's most important so that I can get that done in that short period of time. All right, another thing you do with emails and communication with the other employees and things like that is to batch your request. All right, and by batching your request, it means not only are you reducing your own interruptions and your own time, you're also reducing theirs. Right? So you can set up scheduled times where you check email. Maybe every 25 minutes, you'll open your email program, check your email, send the messages, and then close it back down. And yes, close it back down. Don't just minimize it. Don't just shut it. Kill the app so you don't see that number piling up on the icon in your dock. You don't see the 1, 2, 3, 4 messages that have come in since you last checked your email. Close it down altogether. So by batching your requests and batching your emails and batching your communications, you not only eliminate or reduce your distractions from those applications, but you also improve your communication because you're no longer having to interrupt your team repeatedly and causing them to have to refocus. One thing that's really easy about doing this is to use the Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro Technique is a 25 minutes on, 5 minute off kind of technique, and I don't use it all the time. I use it whenever I have something that I really need to get done. I will focus, turn off all communication, focus really hard for 25 minutes, and then take 5 minutes off. During that 5 minutes off, I'll stand up, I'll take a walk around, I'll stop by my team's cubes, and I'll just, see how they're doing. I'll come back to the desk. I'll reply to emails. I'll, make a phone call if I need to, and then I'm back on for 25 minutes. Turn back off all of my communication. And seriously, if somebody can't wait 25 minutes to get a message back from me, then something really bad's wrong, and they should come to my office or call me or something like that. They should interrupt me in another way other than email, right? So 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, the Pomodoro Technique is extremely, extremely helpful in reducing your distractions. All right. Another thing about distractions is we distract ourselves with our minds. We think of deadlines over details. We need to not worry about all the little things that could go wrong with what we're doing, not worry about all those little minor details, and just work on trying to knock something out, trying to just achieve something, knock something off your to-do list. Focus on the deadlines over the details. That's the most important when you're trying to prevent distractions and get past them. All right, I hope this has been helpful for everybody. And I want to say that this episode is sponsored by my book, What's HTML? You can find out more about that at whatshtml.com, or you can see it at johnrauta.com as well. It's available at Amazon and in audio form at Audible. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. You can check out the show notes and links to everything at geekleader.com, episode 3.